Morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News, not news, where I share with you headlines from my news feed and my thoughts on them. And my thoughts may be based on me just having read the headline, or maybe based on me having read the article, the paragraph following the headline, being an expert on the subject, several articles, or whatever. But it's not news. It's just my thoughts on the news. Thank you so much for clicking on the channel and sticking around. I'm Angela, and the channel is Be Fabulous You. Let us proceed. Adolf Hitler waxwork removed from Indonesian museum. So they had, I guess it was a photograph of maybe one of these death camps where the Nazis would take the people, where they would keep them and hold them and then eventually kill them, gas chamber them or whatever. And in front of that picture, they had a statue of like a representation of Hitler, like a life-size, representation of the person. And then people were taking pictures and posting it all over social media. And so people were like, what in the world, kind of, and they like smiling like, hey, it's me and Hitler outside of the death camp. We over here, it looked like people were like, we over here killing Jewish people. Hey Hitler, what's up? You my boy. So people were like, what's going on in the museum? It's like, well, we haven't had any complaints. And people are like, this is like a mockery of the people who died in those types. Like, what are y'all doing? What's going on? What's good? And they're like, oh, well, we didn't know. But then also part of the article is kind of saying that I guess in that part of the world, or it sort of advanced the theory that there's a lot of Islam, and that there's hostility between, the basically Arabic country and Jewish people. And so it's sort of like, I guess they happy, they might be celebratory, like, hey, some Jews got killed, yay. So yeah, so they ended up taking the the representation of him down. But it's kind of like, what's going on in the world? It's not new, is it? It's just the same stuff, different day. Mercedes F1 team robbed at gunpoint in Brazil, and it's the second or third time that it's happened. It's not, let me just say this, it's not the first time that it's happened. And what was interesting is they were like, the road that they were going down is like a common road for people to get robbed. So the one car, they had put the gun to the window, and they like, we got bulletproof window, what you gonna do? So they couldn't rob them. So it's like, people have bulletproof windows on their cars. Where you get them? Well, who sell that? I guess I don't know. And then I think last year or something, they did it, and then the people kind of just gunned the gas and just tried to drive through traffic, and that's how they got away. So I don't know what a guan. Ow. It's the 99th anniversary of World War I ending. Here are 15 stunning photos of the war to end all wars. But there was a World War II, so World War I didn't end all wars. What they talking about? I didn't look at the photos, but I'm like, wow, 99, 100 years since World War I. I don't know much about, the wars. I guess there's World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War that we've had here, and then, of course, the ongoing war against African peoples in this country and throughout the world, and black people of African descent, or non-white people, non-rich white men with property and power. Chris Rock reportedly, allegedly, I guess, joked that women cry rape for money in recent stand-up comedy appearance. Chris Rock got them baby girls. He got $2, don't he? Ain't he the one that did the thing on black hair? Isn't he the one that had the movie about how he loved his wife and now he divorced from his wife? But in the movie, he was having an affair on his wife. Anyway, students allegedly wore Confederate flag clothing and then bullied African-American classmates. Take a tour of New York's most expensive neighborhood for renters, where the apartments cost $6,500 a month. $6,500 a month. When I last lived in New York, and that's been 15, maybe even 20 years ago, I don't know, yeah, 15, 20 years ago, my place was like $1,000, and it was like down in the village. It was a 1 bedroom. It was a new construction. It was like close to a lot of different trains. It was like very centrally located. Technically, it was Soho, but it was right near Little Italy. But $1,000 a month, that was like on the higher end, but it was like right where we were. It was, we could justify it, sort of, kind of. Blocking a black father from donating kidney raises questions about the intersection of race, healthcare, and justice system. I didn't read the article, but I love the title. It made me want to read it and think about and understand those issues. It seemed like it was going to be a good analysis. LAPD plants drugs in black suspect's wallet, unaware their body cams were on. I was kind of offended that they said black suspect's wallet, because I feel like if you putting stuff in somebody's wallet, are they a suspect or are they a victim, somebody that you're trying to frame? Like suspect, it's like it implies that there's some legitimate reason to be harassing this person, but it seems like they're just harassing the person because they're black. I don't know, but that's what it seems like. But I don't know. It just seems like that. They know their body cam was going. Millions of college students are so terrified of loans, they're turning to sugar daddies for help paying for school. And it was one woman who was like, she gets over $90,000 a year from her sugar daddy. And that, but anyway, I guess the headline and the little thing kind of got me thinking about this idea of, like, if you take out loans and you're in debt to these corporations, these banks, then a lot of times people feel desperate and they work at jobs that maybe they don't want to work at, or they're in work situations that are kind of jacked up because they feel like they have to do what they have to do to pay back their loans or whoever they owe money to. So maybe on this side, the person feels that they have a little bit more control. Like they could choose not to deal with this sugar daddy and try to find them somebody in some situation that, feels good or comfortable enough to them. Where they, it's kind of like when you're looking for a job, if you have the option of like, well, I'm leaving this job, I'm going to get this job, and you're not desperate to keep a job, then you might be able to find a better situation than someone who's just desperate and has no support system. But it also made me think about a system where, a person has to think, okay, well, I want to go to school, I want to get an education, I need to go to school, I need to get an education, I want to have a certain skill set. And, my options are limited to, taking out a loan and owing money for the next 800 years or being a sugar baby. Like both of those options are kind of like, for many people, like jacked up. You know what I mean? Like, why are people in a situation where they have to make those choices? What kind of system have we set up and created where those are the options? Though, we're like, yeah, I think people should just be able to go to school for free. That's what I really think. Morehouse Spellman students' hunger strike ends in free meals on campus. I didn't know that the students at Spellman and Morehouse were on hunger strike, but they've been on hunger strike since November the 2nd, I guess, because they say that some students are dealing with issues of food insecurity where they don't know whether they're going to eat or not. And then there's all these meals that are paid for that never get claimed. And basically the companies just absorb that profit. But we don't want the companies to absorb the profit. We want our fellow students to eat. How's that? How about that? So that's what happened. They got, some concessions where Aeromac, which is this big corporation, would turn that food or whatever over to kids who are students who can't eat, who don't have money to eat, who don't know what they're going to eat, who are desperate and like, oh, well, I'll just eat ramen noodles for 2 weeks until I get some money or whatever. Police arrest white man who attempted to rob a bank in blackface. And I guess it was obvious he was in blackface. He wasn't really fooling nobody. This interactive map shows where U.S. refugees have come from over the years. We have a lot of Middle Easterners in this region, but I was curious. I didn't look at it. I don't have time. I don't even have time to do what I'm doing now. Mother awarded $750,000 settlement for her daughter's suicide. The teacher told, and the name looked like the woman was African, West African, something like that, the woman and the girl. But the teacher told the child that she had cheated, and the child went and killed herself. So that's kind of, I didn't really get into any more into the details of that, but it's kind of like, dang. In this play, there's a scene where the teacher accuses the student of, this, you see this C, it stands for cheating the world, cheating nature, Mother questions why her 14-year-old son was fatally shot by officer. Rest in peace, baby boy. Signs accusing students of rape plastered on Spellman Morehouse campuses. It's a lot going on over at the Atlanta University complex. That's Spellman Morehouse, Morris Brown, something else is over there too, I think. Taye Diggs brings Thoughts of a Colored Man to Broadway. I think Taye Diggs is the one that I always get confused with Tyrese. But anyway, yay, show going to Broadway. Who has more money than Oprah? The 9 top richest black billionaires in the world. Black businessman uses $52 million lottery winnings to revive historic African American community. I wonder how much it costs to revive a community. That's exciting to hear about somebody using their lottery winnings or using lottery winnings in a way that sounds productive and progressive, right? Watch this Polish company make edible plates in minutes. Watch this Polish company make edible plates in minutes. Swedish radio channel hijacked by Islamic State propaganda song. French politicians protest over Muslim street prayers in Paris. So I guess on Friday or maybe during the day, they just be bowed down on the street praying, and the politicians are protesting. And I think it was like there was a place where they could go to pray, but somehow it got torn down or whatever. And so I guess they just pray. I thought that the imagery was beautiful. I don't know. When I worked across the street from a mosque and I would hear the call to prayer like during the day, I found it to be very like beautiful, and like, it was kind of like a reminder to like be mindful, to be prayerful, to take a moment to breathe, to take a moment to connect with God. I kind of liked it. I didn't understand what the prayers were saying, but retired police detective investigated for preying on black women. Protecting Sudan's forgotten pyramids. There are more pyramids in Sudan than Egypt, apparently. I don't know much about that. Me Too Survivor March to be held on Sunday at Hollywood and Highland. Is that in LA? 3 Chinese students injured in car attack in Toulouse. Las Vegas is surrounding marathoners this weekend with snipers and security measures. Woo, I don't like being around people with guns. They supposed to be protecting me. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to run the marathon and there's snipers all around me. Ooh. And that's what I got. Yay. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, it's Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Today is the best day ever. Like, comment, subscribe, share. We're working on 200 subscribers. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Bye.